I was going to tell them to feel free to interrupt when they bring the coffee. Feel free to interrupt when you have coffee.
Yeah.
I'm going to put you a little closer and just sit here next to you.
Is this your first time here?
You know, I do out of 52 weekends a year, I do 45 trips. So, do I know where I am?
You don't even know where you are from.
I know, Florida or whatever, but it's like, it's crazy, but it's nice. I love it. During the week, I'm in my studio. I have a beautiful studio, 2 floors, 10,000 feet each, with about 50 people. And yeah, the weekends I travel.
Ah, and you have a phone. Nice socks.
Richard, I'm in the middle of an interview again in Florida. Call me again now. Okay, buddy. Thank you. Okay.
We should have gotten that part away.
That was probably the wife.
I thought so too.
Yeah, see, that's why you answered it. Anyway, my name's Gary Eck. I'll just start. We have a very informal station. They let me do whatever I want.
It's a radio station.
It's called the X104.9 Key West.
X104.9.
Key West. Maybe we'll start with that here. So we'll just do it like we're sitting and chatting, just like we are.
Sitting and chatting.
Sitting and chatting in Key West with Peter Max and Linda Fryer, the Voodoo Princess.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Mr. Max is sitting right next to me.
Hi.
Hi.
It's nice to be here.
Have you ever been in Key West before? Let's start with that.
I am sure I have more than once, more than 5, 10 times. But I travel so much. At the end of the day, sometimes I don't even know where I was. I do probably 120 art shows a year, which is about 45 weekends. I travel out of town, sometimes out of the country. But I'm trying to reduce it. But as I'm reducing it, they're enlarging it. So I don't know which directions it's in.
And you're here at DeRubeis Gallery in Key West this week, and this is an ingenious plan to take over the art world again for you.
Oh.
You guys do this road show. I met Leslie and the others and Nim, and for 15 years they've taken it on the road, which is absolutely genius.
It's amazing, you know, that when I exploded in the late 60s, all of us were very, very young, and exploded like beyond belief, and suddenly within 6 months of a year, one day I'm walking with my 3.5-year-old boy, and I'm walking down the street, and he goes, Daddy, look. I said, what happened? He says, that's you. And look, and he's pointing at a newsstand, and inside the newsstand is a guy sitting in there, and over his head, 4 Life magazine covers on the face of it, and I couldn't believe you got to stand to be a Life magazine back then. It's like being next to the White House, in the White House every day. There were only maybe 7 magazines in the whole world. Life, Look, Time, whatever. And so it was a 6-page article. And then I had I've been in Life maybe 7, 8 times. And I somehow, my images of who I am, and the type of art I did came out at the same time as the Beatles and so forth. It kind of, had something to do with the decade of the 60s. So now, jumping forward, 30, 40 years later, and I've done just in the last 10 years, 1,123 magazine covers. Every magazine cover had a 10-page story minimum. Couldn't believe it.
That's amazing.
One of my guys showed them to me the other day. We store everything, and he made some that they could do all digital copies.
Right.
And he just made a book. The book was like 3 inches thick, 5 inches thick. And that magazine covers were the size of a postcard. If they were large, it was a bit like an encyclopedia. I have it on my desk. I've looked at it already 10 times. I remember all the covers, but I can't believe I didn't. It's mind-boggling.
It is mind-boggling.
You know how media exploded from the late 60s there were, 7 television shows, maybe 7 channels, 5, 6, 7, 8 magazines. Today, there's like 2,000 channels, and every channel, when you go through the channels, they all look valid.
Right.
It's like real television shows, except so many of them. It's like I remember when Larry King used to be on CNN. Then one day Larry called me and said, "Hey, I'm going to be in channel 267." So I took a piece of tape on my television set in my rooms where I sometimes watch TV a little bit, and I wrote down, L King 267. Of course, as time went on, he moved to 345 and to 257. I always have to call Larry on the phone. Larry, what channel are you on?
Yeah, I remember Larry was on the radio in Miami when I was a kid. My father was a private investigator up there. Actually, my first recollection of Peter Max, the hippies did, love it. And they had a shop called The Mushroom. And they had gone to New York and brought back these posters of this new artist, this pop artist named Peter Max. And there was a picture of you in black and white with a Nehru jacket on.
Maybe, yeah.
And they had it on the wall, and I go, that looks like cool. God, you had a paintbrush and a Nehru jacket.
Yeah, Nehru jacket.
I'd never seen it before.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing, when we were in our teens and early 20s, is when media exploded. And it exploded like beyond belief. Tens of thousands of magazines, each one with a different title, tens of thousands of radio stations. It's just so unbelievable. I have a room in my warehouse that's maybe 35 feet long, 20 feet wide, and very nice. It's filled from floor to ceiling with little boxes, and every box has 100 cassettes in it. I have 10,000 cassettes, 10,000 video cassettes, 10,000 CDs. All the shows I've done, which is disbelief, and when I listen to it, it's the same 17 stories, maybe 35 stories, so many interviews. I can't even believe it. We're living in a world where we used to have a television set with 7, 10 channels. Now we've got a thing that's like 10 feet wide and 8 feet high, and it's got like 2,000 channels. That's if that's what you want. It's probably
right. Too many TVs.
Too many TVs, but it's
not enough music.
Yeah, not enough music.
And not enough art, right?
Yeah, I love.
Coffee is here.
Yeah.
Very good. Linda, you have a question for him?
I have a million questions, but
Thank you, Joe.
one question would be, do you know how many pieces of art you have?
That's hard. That's hard to know. I mean, I draw every day. I paint almost every day. Sometimes I paint 6 pieces a day. Sometimes only 1. Some days maybe I don't paint and I travel. But I always draw and always do ideas. What I've done recently is I have so many fantastic drawings, and they're so diverse. It's unbelievable. And I always wanted to do animated films. So I'd spoken to Spielberg, and I spoke to Lucas, guys at Lucas, and all kinds of Hollywood guys. And this was about 3.5 years ago when I started the project. And an animated film went down from 30, 40 down to 10, 15 to make because it's digital. So now I put, I get music. McCartney gave me 2,000, 3,000 songs. Ringo gave me a couple thousand songs. Bon Jovi gave me music. I got music from 25 friends. And I wound up with a little bit more than 30,000 songs. So I had one of my assistants buy these, the smallest little,
the MP3 player?
The little
iPods.
Yeah. They're like, 1/8 of an inch thick.
Yeah.
And they're maybe like 3 inches long.
And you put all the music in that?
I put them on 35 different ones. I didn't want to have more than 1,000 pieces of music per iPod, just in case I rate them all, I lose them.
Right.
So I have